What's happening, good people? uh, y'all let me know if I look dusty or not. Because I was certainly rushing, as I am, it seems, always. I always have excuses. Took one of my kids' apple juice. Man. So this Black Friday is actually shaping up to be a decent Black Friday. It's Black Friday month. It's Black November. What's up, sleeper? Yeah, I had to get these kids squared away. The missus, she had a thing, so it's just me and the kiddos. And I didn't try very hard to be on time, but as much as I tried to be on time, it was not successful. Let me start by saying this. The best deal, I watched Jason Noy's live stream today. I was checking that one out. I also checked out Hobotech's live stream, not his live stream, his video from Bouge RV. I was like, the Bouge RV deals didn't really, didn't do anything for me. I did like one thing that Hobotech said, which is he's going to be making more videos. So I imagine he's going to have a EcoFlow specific video, probably a Bluetti specific video. He already did Bouge RV, and maybe he'll have something else. You know who surprised me in this situation? Jackery. Jackery surprised me. Jackery's prices during this Black Friday situation actually make it where I think people could consider them if they're Jackery fans. I wouldn't necessarily buy a Jackery just off a GP. Because they've left such a bad taste in my mouth as it relates to their prices and slow walking technology. I haven't really got into it. I did watch Solar Will's video on the Jackery, and he was talking about how the price was actually competitive with the Delta, and in some ways the price was better than the Delta Pro 3 Ultron, one of them joints, Iron Man. I don't know. Let's see here. I need a privat window. Let me also say that the deal that has impressed me the most is, I think that the one that has impressed me the most is probably the EcoFlow Delta 2, which I don't have. I don't know if anybody has a new model. Hey, Sharp Armade. It is, let's see. It is a power station that has had a notoriously loud fan. But I don't know under which circumstances that would stop you from grabbing one. Let's see. This thing is $399. This is, let me kind of do it like that. Not like that, like that. This is very compelling. Now, the thing that kind of threw me off here is the shipping time frame. It's not going to come fast, which is terrible. That's something that I think we will have to take into account. I need to check in my personal window because I don't think it, even with Prime, because I'm using a private window up top, I don't think even with Prime it ships fast, which is kind of sucks, man. To kind of want to, they get free delivery December 6th through the 11th. That takes a little bit of the appeal out of that deal, for me at least. I mean, if you're waiting all these days, because right on its heels is the Oupes Mega 1. The Oupes Mega 1 has more solar, but I'm almost certain it uses Anderson. And I'm here to nitpick during my Black Friday deals. The Mega 1 does 800 watts of solar. Let me close my my window. I don't like people looking in on me. Give me a second. Un momento, por favor. Oh, jeez. It has Joker has an put out a short next week, basically saying that I hate Anderson. It's not necessarily true that I hate Anderson, but I am not a fan of. And then I think Manny was saying in the last live stream that he doesn't like Anderson connectors, the small ones, because they have like, you know, 3 different styles. Oh my gosh. So EcoFlow's situation, the Delta 2, I believe has a 60-volt input limit. I'm here to nitpick because, you know, I value my coins out here in these streets. It has a 60-volt input limit, can take it up to 500 watts. And I'm talking about this one right here. The fan is historically very loud, which means you would either be okay with a tornado happening in your house or you put it somewhere where you don't need to have it around in your living quarters. It does, I think the max is 500 watts of solar. The, whatchamacallit? What's it? They both have comparable watt hour situations. It has 1800 watt inverter. The Oupes might have a bigger inverter. Maybe it has a 2000 watt. Let's see here. They might send me a Mega 1. They might. I don't know. I don't know that I want a Mega 1. I feel like I wasted so much of my time on that Mega 2. I feel like they need to send me a Mega 2. Okay, yeah, it's a 2000 watt inverter. So you got a little more cushion. 4 outlets, 2 USB-Cs. I'm sure those are 100 watt joints. Well, way to zoom in, Oupes. Just thinking this through. It has Anderson, like I said, which is fine. I mean, my Anderson, I never had an issue with the Anderson connectors on my Oupes Mega 2 when I had it. Hey, Dagada. It's good to see you. Always good to see you. I never had issues with it, but Anderson has given me so many problems. And the EcoFlow has XT60. But the EcoFlow maxes out at 500 watts. And this one can do 800 watts, and the voltage is higher. The voltage is like 72, I believe. I may have to jump into the site's specs because, you know, Amazon can leave something to be desired as it relates to specifications. So let's do that. But I'm pretty sure it has a higher voltage input limit than the 60 volts, and it could take in more solar. Specs here. Yes, 18 is 14 amps, which is actually pretty nice. That's not limited lower. I don't think the other one is limited lower. It might be 15. You can do 800 watts of solar charging from 18 to 75 volts. Why that's important? 75 volts gives you a little more room to play with bigger panels. I have panels that do like 37 volts. That's cutting it close, but it still gives you room to maneuver. And a lot of times these power station companies, they'll tell you 75 volts, but it'll actually be like 80. Like it'll tell you 60, but then it'll be like 64, 65. Jason Noy found that with the DC charge verter, not the charge verter, that's the, who are them people? EG4. 1 second, I'll show you what I mean. The DC charge enhancer is what I'm talking about. This is supposed to be rated, Setai gifted this to me. This is supposed to be rated at what? I think 60 volts, but he said it can go up to maybe like 67, which is interesting because it does not do it. This thing is weird. We're not going to get into that. It's weird in that it works under certain circumstances. Some people have said something very strange about it. I have to look into it very seriously before I start using it because I don't want to damage my AC200P. I think it has the capacity to blow the fuse inside of the charge enhancer or whatever it is. Anyway, the voltage may be a little higher on the Oupes, but I'm happy to see 75. And if it's actually like 77, 78, that would be perfect because then you could put 2 panels in series. Now the Mega 2, I think it goes up to like 140 or something like that. It goes up pretty high. If it's not 140, it's like 120. But these are the 2 best deals in my mind. Like when you put things into consideration, these jokers can run basically anything your home outlets can run for $400, which we've been getting into this space of $599, being able to do that, like maybe $549, but to get all the way down to $399 on a Delta 2 is crazy. And then you got everything that comes along with the EcoFlow, which is the app capability and all of that jazz. This is pretty nice. I mean, you can even get to the point where you can gift somebody one of these joints and they would be straight. They wouldn't have a whole lot of watt-hour capacity, but by the time you add in the ability to like charge from the car or charge from a solar panel and get you like a used panel off of the market for like $100, I mean, you're in a pretty good position. You are. Then we have other ones like the AC180, which is, it's okay. Let me see. We got the Anker C1000, which also has an XT60 connector on it. It's a little bit smaller than both the AC180 and the EcoFlow Delta 2, I believe. And this one has more ports on it. It has the dual, I think, 100-watt USB-Cs on it, which is nice. I don't hear much about Anker in these YouTube streets. Have y'all seen a whole lot of like Anker videos other than like the people who they send them to? I feel like the Anker devices are under the radar. They pretty much get videos for when they send them out to the influencers, and then I don't hear about them jokers again. I don't know if people don't like using them. I don't know if they work so well that people just kind of like throw them to the side and forget it, or they're using them and hammering them. If anybody has an Anker C1000, how is it working? I know Wayne was telling me that he was having some issues with the Ankers having a similar issue to what I had with the Oupes Mega 2, which is if you let the power get too low, his didn't recover. And I don't know how many people that happens for, but it happens for me. What's happening? 7:30. Okay, sure. I told the boy he didn't have to ask, but then he come down here and ask anyway. This video is sponsored by whoever. It's not sponsored. Now, EcoFlow and Bluetti have sales on their devices, but I think Bluetti's sales are crushing EcoFlow's. Now, Bluetti, the AC180 is not necessarily crushing the Delta 2. The Delta 2 is winning in that regard. I don't think you could beat that. But the AC180 is about as old as the Delta 2, so that's a fair comparison. What else? The AC180. I think it's like 480 or something like that, which is good. I feel like they should have made that dip like 450 or 429 or something a little bit cheaper than what this is. This one has fallen a little bit out of favor with me because it has 8mm. I talked about this a little bit. And it has 8mm high up on the device. I don't know if I like 8mm sitting up so high with it being such an interesting connecting point, a barrel connection. So, but this one, I mean, people who have this device, it works. You know, there's no problems with it. Man, I want to deviate so much, but I want to make this about these deals that I saw. I did not see a whole lot of solar panel deals, which is shocking. I saw maybe one or two. Did you guys see any solar panel deals? I always like to see those Renogy bifacials, the 450s for like $800. That's not a crazy good deal, but it's a deal in that if you're gonna buy panels from Amazon, which is gonna be about a little less than $1 a watt, if you're already in that groove of spending like $75, $80, $85 for a 100-watt panel, I mean, 100-watt panels have gotten a lot cheaper. But I'm saying if you're in that mindset and you don't want to endeavor to buy from the marketplace, which I think you should do, you could get a pair of Renogy 450s for like 760 some odd dollars, which is, I think, is interesting in that sphere. Hey, Katie, what's happening? I saw you on Jason Noy's live stream. It was good to hear your name. Hopefully I won't lose power. Oh man. Holy moly. You need more power stations. What do you have? What power stations do you? Everybody who feels like typing, can you tell me what devices you have on deck? If you have more than 4, just tell me your top 4. Because some of y'all may have more than 4. Especially Sharp Harvey. You probably got a good 20. A good 15, maybe more. I don't even want to count her pockets like that. She has a lot. Let's see. Now, another thing I wanted to talk about that's not necessarily specific to the deals themselves, but I think also what we have to think about is if we're looking at a Delta 2, a Oupes Mega 1, is it better to just grab like double your capacity and get the get the Bluetti Elite 200 V2 or whatever it's called? I think about stuff like that. You know, do you go 2 Delta Pros with their super loud fan noise? I seriously hope the fan noise is quieter, because what will happen is they'll quietly kind of address things. Oh, the EcoFlow is one of the only power stations that has that auto AC back on. So if you have a situation where you need something like, say, you know, the folks who are dealing with power outages as it relates to Helene and they have solar, you know, or whatever, you know what I mean? You could have a situation where your AC can turn back on once your power reaches a certain point. And the Bluetti Elite has it. And pretty much all of EcoFlow's devices have the auto AC back on. So that's another thing to take into account. But where I was going is, do you look at something like the Elite, which is 2,000 watt hours, 2,600 watt inverter for about $1,100, and then you contrast that to anything in this 1,000 watt hour device range with an 1,800 watt inverter? Is it better to just get 2 of those dips or one of the bigger dips? And that's a very personal choice. Me, with having solar zones and things like that, I would much rather have multiple devices. That would kind of be my default. At some point, I could see me needing a bigger device, but 2,000 watt hours is really not a whole lot of power to begin with when you start to think in large scale. So I don't know. I think it's something worth considering. I have an EB3A and EcoFlow River 2 Pro. Interesting. The River 2 Pro, I think, is on sale. But the AC70 is a better device and it's cheaper from Bluetti. Let's see. Not to compare them, but they are on sale as it relates to this. With the EcoFlow points and the AC points, I can get $100 off a Delta 2 that's currently $399. I can get it for $299. Wow. That's tempting. Is that something are you tempted by that? Or are you just kind of like, yeah, I could get it for a little bit cheaper? Oh, and another thing that somebody else, before we get into Nathan's comment, good to see you, Nathan. I'm surprised Nathan is here, man. Nathan is a busy man. I'll text him whenever I text people to let him know I'm live. You know, he'll be like, "Oh yeah, we got something going on tonight. We got this going on Saturday nights." So shout out to him. He be getting busy. People have talked about on the last live stream the tariffs, and it even came up on Jason Noy's live stream, and how prices could increase just off of Biden's administration. And there were Trump saying that he's going to do some things too. Things could get a little more costly. Now, I haven't done a whole lot of research on this, but that it increasing, I don't know how. Do some research on the tariff stuff. That's all I can say. I haven't researched it. Very tempted. I haven't researched it thoroughly because in some ways I don't really care, but it's something that I should be more versed in, especially because it has the ability and the capability to impact what prices we see. But the interesting thing is prices have gotten so low. Would it really impact us at all? Would Chinese companies just take the hit and kind of keep prices stable because of competition? You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe everybody's going to have to go up. I don't know. Let's see here. Okay, I have the Ego Nexus power station, the EcoFlow 1000, two EcoFlow Rivers, the Greasel T3, and the GoLabs 3100. Thanks to I for the last two power stations mentioned. Hey, salute. What's up, Byron? Good to see you. My first Anker Powerhouse 2, Delta Max 2, and the Anker. Yeah, you did get the Anker F3800 recently. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Hold on, what's Katie saying? I've been offline dealing with a broken leg. Holy moly. Starting to feel better and get back online slowly. Dang. I want to know what happened too. Holy moly. Yeah, if you feel comfortable sharing, Katie, give us a little insight into what happened. Man, that's kind of wild. That's kind of wild. So give us some insight if you feel like sharing. Pecron is also in the mix as well as it relates to their deals, but I don't think that their deals are close in this price range with these other devices, which is the $300-400 mark. I think Jason Noy also has a coupon that if you haven't heard from his situation, if going with his situation will save you guys a few dollars, I don't mind that. I rock with Jason Noy. And if that could save y'all some coin, it could save y'all some coin. Let's see. I wish I had a better story, but I fell down the stairs and hit the concrete floor in the basement. That man, listen. I would say everybody in this particular group of people who are into solar, we are all getting older. It could happen to the best of us. That's for sure. You don't even need a better story, man. We're getting older, man. Mistakes happen. Stuff happens. That's for sure. My wife tells me I fall in slow motion, so I've done better than myself. But I've had some what do you say? Not my finest moments. See, all of my power banks were shipped from in California. What does that mean? What's the relevance of that? All right. What else has caught my fancies? Okay, we got the AC180. We also have this one. Which is the EcoFlow Delta 2 Max. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. It's hard for me to keep up with this. Wait, that can't be right. I'm sorry. Oh yeah, this is cool. It's hard for me to keep up with EcoFlow. EcoFlow has such a weird. What's up, Mark? EcoFlow has I find it hard to keep up with their power stations and to make sense of them because their naming convention is kind of interesting as well, just like Bluetti's. But this one is a typical 2K power station for $1,000. It actually has a $100 coupon on it, which is pretty cool. So it drops it down to $899 from EcoFlow. I don't know exactly where this falls in the grand scheme of their power stations. I'm pretty sure this is the one with the dual 500-watt ports on the back. And here we go with Amazon not being useful. Let's see. Comparison. I'm pretty sure this one is the one with the dual MPPTs, but they're maxing out at 60 volts. Let's see if we can make sense of this here. This is the Delta 2 Max. I was actually kind of impressed with this one when it first came out because of those dual joints, because I like to charge my devices from both solar and 12 volt during the course of the day. I don't charge from 12 volt when I just hit cancel. Like, dude, go away. I don't charge from them at the same time. But when I'm trying to extend the runtime of my power stations, I don't like having to unplug solar to plug in 12 volts. So this one maybe this one, I'm imagining it's this one. But some of their devices having dual inputs has been a nice idea for me. Let's see. Are they even going to show it? I don't know if they will. Okay, yeah. So it's 11 to 60 volts. It's just like, oh, can we get rid of 60 volts? Jason Oy actually gave a good logic. It's not one I want to accept, but he gave a reason. I shouldn't say a good reason. He gave a reason why he believes that some of these devices are 60 volts. I think is BS. I shouldn't say BS because I don't cuss, but I'm making y'all cuss in y'all heads. I don't actually equate that to the cuss word. I think it's bullcrap. So he was basically saying that it's a safety issue. Like some people, some of these companies, when he asked them like, hey, what's going on with you in 60 volts? And they're like, yeah, it's kind of right around the threshold of people getting hurt from the voltage. And, you know, when you get up to like 140, it can get really dangerous for you. And I'm like, okay, whatever. But 60 volts, it's on my nerves, y'all. It's on my nerves. I feel like I like how Pecron does it. Pecron gives you 95 volts, and I've talked about that before. But yeah, this one has the dual situation for 1,000 watts, 500 watts of pop, which is actually, I mean, it's nice, all things considered. Who's this guy? He looked like the Bluetti guy. I can't stand that Bluetti guy's voice, man. But $1,000 for a big 3 power station, 2 kilowatt, that is very interesting. Again, we have to look at these products not in the vacuum, especially on the live streams. We have to think about, like, should you get something like an EcoFlow? Maybe you like the EcoFlow system. Maybe you like all of that fun stuff you could do in the background with the time of use charging. It has all kinds of stuff that they typically enable in their devices. It may not span across the whole product line, but for the most part, EcoFlow does really interesting things in their products. And then Bluetti, I think, is kind of adopting some of that stuff on the Elite V2. So that one is $200 more. So you jump from $899 to $1,099 for maybe a slightly bigger inverter or a little bit more watt hour capacity as it relates to the efficiency. So you would get a little more efficiency on the Bluetti dip than you would the EcoFlow 9 times out of 10. So it's an interesting thing if you're in the market for $1,000 power station, which is a 2K 2,000 watt inverter. Former Marshall, what's happening? Just hanging in the bushes. I ain't mad at that. What we got here? I feel the same way about EcoFlow, but I like the Bluetti is moving slow, steady, in the right direction. Bluetti seems to be doing too much. I always kind of coined Bluetti as being like in between the EcoFlow and Jackery. It's like they're the best of both worlds, in my opinion. You know, they're pushing the technology. They were pushing the technology envelope forward. Maybe not as far as EcoFlow, but they were as reliable. Asterisk. Because if you have an issue with Bluetti, they've had customer support issues, but they've kind of cleaned that up per, you know, hearing from, you know, me and Jason have had that conversation over the past like year to 2 years. But I don't know. I don't pretend to understand what motivates Bluetti to make some of these products that they're making. And that's not even new. You know, you had the AC60 that was weatherproof, which I got, but it caused the price to be really high. Then you got the replaceable battery one where you could hot swap the batteries, which is a weird one. To me, it had some nice shortcomings and things like that. It was a very interesting device. And then what did they did something else that was weird. I feel like that Jason did say that their AC300 has been updated, but they haven't updated that particular category in a long time. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do in that space because those devices have been out there for a while. Jason said that the AC300, the fan on it is whisper quiet now. And I don't know what else that they've done. I think LA has mentioned, or maybe Lulz has mentioned that the AC300 has gotten some updates over the years, but overall, that product has been out for a long time, especially in power station years, right? You typically getting a new or refresh or an update every year to 18 months, and it's been out for a good while. Powerhouse 2, AC200 Max, Delta 2 Max, sold my river to my brother. Okay, that's nice. Yeah, me too. DJI Power. Yeah, I saw that one too. I haven't heard much about that one. I haven't seen much about it either. That one is definitely in the running, but DJI is kind of new to the game. I got a tab around here somewhere. Let's see if we can find it. Control Shift tab around here. Here it is. Let's take a look-see. This one is even cheaper, right? It's $420 with a $40 coupon, so we hitting up at $380. I don't even think I've watched one video on a DJI Power Station. So we have 2,200 watts, half the watt-hour capacity with USB-C 140, really quiet according to them. Yeah, this is something that I would consider if I was in the market for a power station. It only has 2 AC outlets. That kind of sucks. A little bit different of a form factor, which is nice. I wonder what the solar is like, because that matters. Wonder what connector it takes to charge it. And I doubt that that's going to be on here on Amazon, but let's see. Fast charging can get you there in 70 minutes to 80%. There's a newer model of this one. Let's see what the newer model is. What does that even mean? I guess maybe it's a new listing because it's about $820 with a $380 coupon. So it's a little bit more expensive, but I wonder what they fixed. I think Jason Noy and Hobotech have done DJI videos, but maybe check out a couple videos before you make your decision. I'm trying to see what, okay, supports solar charging, recharge to in just 1.35 hours up to 800 watts. So I wonder what the specifics of that are. Let's see. It's probably Anderson. What's up, less stuff, more freedom, living the van life. input SDC and SDC light. What does that even mean? Okay, we have, this is weird. Let's see, can y'all see that? No, I'm not signing in with my Google account. Charge. So 32 to 58 volts, another 60 volt input limit, max 400 watts, 8 amps. SDC light is the same stuff. Both the SDC support extensive accessories. I don't know what that means. Maintain 70% of capacity after 4,000 watt cycles. All right, DJI, relax. I'm not getting a whole lot of understanding of what I'm looking at here. Okay, now this is reading. Okay, no. This is output. Also, these ports must have dual functionality. That's interesting. They have import and export capabilities. Sorry about that. Anyway, I feel like, yeah, do some research surrounding the DJI joint. DJI is a company that is reputable. Let's see what their return policy is on here. It says returnable until January 31st, but I did see something on the other listing where it said due to certain blah, 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 blahs. Let me see where it said that at. I saw something around here. Okay, well, hold on. We got the ports here. Maybe that shows more ports. AC input, SDC port 1 and 2. Okay, that's this stuff over here. Can y'all see that? I may have to make my mouse bigger. That's this zone right here. So they're covered. You can't see them. Multi-save. Dang, I know I saw something somewhere about the return policy. Have you guys ever had to return a power station to Amazon? What has been your situation with that? Yeah, just pay close attention to this return policy stuff. That's for sure. All right, let's see. Chris says, I do like my, this is not Tennessee Frank, are you? I know a lot of people like that don't tread on me stuff. I know that that's in his joint. Let's see here. The bottom line is you got to pick what's best for you. That's a fact. Greetings from Plattsburgh. That's interesting. It's mighty cold. 800 watts. It was made for the drones. Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense. The van life is amazing, but can be a little cold. I can't stand being cold. I don't know how people deal with that. Any LiPo 100 amp 12 volt batteries you would recommend for Black Friday? I like the Bluetooth ones. Jason always seems to be a fan of Lead Time or Lie Time. I didn't see much on the batteries, but I didn't really look very hard. The batteries have been getting cheaper just in general. So I wonder what they would do for Black Friday. Let's poke around here and see what's what. I need to do a video on this this Delta 3 Plus. I really like that device. And I have to visit my notes as it relates to why. So we got a 12 volt 100 amp hour for 209. This must have some fanciness into it because that's a little high. So eco-worthy 175, which is pretty good. Here we go. 151. I've seen this company around. I don't know if anybody has done videos on it. I do not like batteries with these handles. I have one of those. It's a mini style, but it's kind of an interesting mini style. Yeah, 209. I have this battery. I like this battery a lot. The golden mate joint is pretty fly. So $200 even. I've seen better prices on these batteries than $200. I mean, um, that's very interesting. So they're kind of not. Will says he likes the EcoFlow joint for 200. This is a little more like a 186. When did we have? Didn't we have a Prime Day recently? I feel like I was seeing like batteries for like 167, 171. Okay, here we go. We got Redodo for 170. That's more like it. That's something to rock with. I think I have a Redodo around here somewhere. I also have a Power Queen around here, and I think Power Queen was on sale recently too. Battleborn still out here being a thug. 149, 157. Granner Power. I feel like this particular one right here, maybe Off Grid Basement, has done a video on that. Okay, Lifetime. This is another one for 186. So you have some decent prices. You pair a battery like this for 186 with, let's say, I'm pretty sure these chargers are probably like $60, $70 now. These are kind of like the style of ones that I have, not with this Anderson stuff on it. Maybe something. Oh, they all kind of have. They seem like they're kind of moving to this Anderson situation, which is weird. I'm used to just seeing battery clamps, alligator clamps like this right here, but on this style of charger. So a 12-volt eco-worthy with ringlet terminals is weird to me. I'm not really a fan of that. I guess if you have one battery, that's fine. But if you have multiple batteries, so anyway, you pair one of those batteries with one of these chargers, 20 amps. What does that come out to? About 290. It's about 300 watts, maybe a little bit lower than that. Then you got a nice little joint, and then you put a ringlet terminal to 12-volt socket adapter on one of these batteries, and you got a nice little DC situation going on here. Something like this. You got to be careful with the amps on here. But yeah, that'll get you going quite nicely. Something like this joint over here. And then you throw a 12-volt adapter in it, you got 1,000 some odd watt hours of power for $170. You add in a charger, $200. I mean, you kind of can't beat that. And then you may want to throw an inverter in. I have a Best Tech. The Best Tech works well. I have a 500. I bought it off the marketplace. I think this is it right here. So it has a 12-volt plug-in, and it also has the clamps on it. Yeah, it's a 500. That price doesn't move me though. But I got it off the marketplace, so I'm moving in a different kind of space. But it's right at about 500 watts, and it works fine. The fan is a little interesting. It's actually sitting right here. The AC plugs are a little the AC on it. What am I doing here? The AC outlets on it are a little snug. When I try to pull a wire out of it, it's pretty interesting. Yeah, I bought this from this guy. He actually thought he was going to use it for work. I may have paid $15 for it, or $20 or something like that. And it works well for me. I need to try hooking it up to my car. That would be a cool video. I actually broke this by putting it in. I put the black on the red, or the red on the black on my Golden Mate battery. I was just talking about that Golden Mate, the Orion version, and I blew my fuses. So let's see here. I did not want to do that. Oh, geez. I do not want to be that wide. That's actually not bad looking. I don't want y'all seeing all of that. bring this a little closer. And then I want to change my focus. All right, let's get this closer. So it has 2 amps in it. I replaced the 2 amps. It has 2 fuses in it. I replaced the fuses in it and it started working again. So the fuses did their job, which is pretty nice. So now that works again. Okay, let's see if we could. I got a DJI Pocket 3. How's that? I think that's good. That might be better. I got a DJI Pocket 3 and it's not down here. I think it's upstairs. This is not it. This is my first camera that I made content with. This is the Osmo Action OG. I got the Action 4 now, and I've had that for some time. But then I recently got the Pocket 3, which is a gimbal-based situation. So when you open that like that, the gimbal kind of comes alive. So that's what we're looking at. And then when you can take this little thing and close it, and then it'll turn off. And then the gimbal will do its thing where it brings itself in. So you could put it back in its little case. Like so. I bring all that up to say that you can use this as a webcam. So I want to try this one day because this could replace this situation. I don't think it's going to look maybe as good as this looks because this is a DSLR. I don't like that it has the bars on the end. That's kind of interesting because it can't do something or another. I'm also limited to 720p in this situation. This is a Canon T3i. I thought about buying anyway, whatever. All right, so we got that. You can get an inverter with these jokers, and that joint was $50. The charger was $70, so that's like $120, and then the battery was what? Well, one of these batteries was $170. So yeah, you get yourself a decent situation. But think about that price-wise. So we got $170 plus another $170, $340. $340. You pretty much got 12 volt covered. You don't have a solar way to charge the battery at one point. So you could probably add another cheap inverter and you could spend $400, or you could just buy a Delta 2. You know what I mean? It's like bananas. Doing the DIY situation was supposed to be like the cheaper way to get into solar power. But these freaking devices are so affordable, especially on sale, that you kind of can't justify building it yourself at certain points. Until you start getting into like server rack batteries, because those jokers is like $1,000 for like 5,000, 1,100, 1,200. 1,100, 1,200 for 5,000 watt hours. But then you got to buy a charger, and then you have to buy so that does not scale. When you do a DIY at that level, you're coming off pretty good. But at this level, when you could get a Delta 2 for $400, it's like, why bother with a 12 volt, 100 amp hour battery, and then getting your own charger, and then, putting an inverter on it. But it's still a lot of capacity to supplement a power station if you wanted to do that. So it's still a good bit if you already have that stuff laying around, or if you just want to DIY. Let me see what y'all snapping and trapping about. Okay, Amazon themselves does not sell power stations. They list them for the company. That's fair. So the company takes care of all customer service, not Amazon. That is very interesting. Okay. Something to think about. What's happening? I got 2 Zendor Super Bass Vs 4K for $1,000 each at Woof arrived today. Now, I don't want to rain on your parade, because that seems like a very fantastic deal. But I've heard Zendor is having issues with their power stations. And I've only heard that from one person. Shar Farme, have you had issues with your Zendor power stations? I feel like you have a couple, right? So I don't know, man. Hopefully you don't have any issues. One thing is they have been responsive, if not being solution oriented, but they have been responsive. But I don't know about Zendor out here in these streets. Okay, cool. We have a differing perspective. Amazon been real good to me. I tell them and they pick it up. What's up, Ben? Wellbot has a good Black Friday sale on the Anker F3800, code Anker5. Interesting. So check that out if y'all are interested. I wonder what the deal is. Wellbot. I've heard people mention Wellbot in the past. I don't think I've ever been into that particular site. I don't know much about it. Anker F. I'm gonna just throw myself away. Okay, got an expansion battery. What's the base? That's what I can make the most of. I don't need no solar panels or anything. A refurbish for 3,800? Or I guess it's an extra battery. $2,400. I think that might match the price from Anker as well. Anker F3800 by itself. Yeah, so you don't even got to deal with Wellbots. Now you said there's a code, so the code may make it a little cheaper for you. So yeah, y'all take that into consideration. 2,300 from Anker or some stuff from Wellbots. I don't know much about. Amazon prices has gone up from over a month ago. Robert, what's happening? Vimdia has a coupon which costs, okay, let's check it out. Shoot, $130. The only thing you have to worry about is if the quality of that battery will hold up. But, you know, battery's a battery, right? Maybe. Let's see. Click to see price. Yeah, it looks like a basic kind of like what's them like Dr. Prepare type of joint. It won't tell you the price until you add it to the cart, which is just disrespectful. And now you got to sign in. So I guess y'all got to add it to the cart. I guess I could do it in my different window. Let's see. And I'll tell you the price. Surprise, surprise. Okay, it shows 149 in my logged in page. And then I don't see any codes. So let's add it to my cart. Y'all can't see this because I share from a private page when I'm live streaming. Yeah, I don't see any, unless you know of a code, I don't see anything. I don't see a coupon here. I'm gonna click back on it again to make sure I didn't miss anything. So yeah, it's just saying 150 for me. And this is in my private window. Interesting. It hurts seeing the manufacturer battery pricing for power stations when you could build a 16 kilowatt 51.2 pack from cells under 2,000. Yeah, EcoFlow charges you that for 6 kilowatts. Yeah, it is. It is interesting, but you know, it is what it is. You know, you can do it yourself. Armand, what's happening? Jason Noyd is correct about the safety issue about the danger of DC voltage around 60 volts. DC is a lot more dangerous than AC voltage. Interesting. Why is DC voltage? Hey, Radiant Jasmine, you need to email me. You won the you won something. You won I think Farmer Marshall, who's around here, you say he in the bushes. He won the Sateki and you won the Power Station. I'm actually about to give away another panel maybe on the next live stream. I could do it on this live stream, but it's of no consequence right now. My other Rock Pals panel, which is why I'm about to make a short for Anderson Things Suck. The Anderson connectors failed on me, and I'm not going to do anything with it. So I'm just going to give it to one of y'all if y'all want it. You could redo the Andersons on it. Maybe it'll work out. Or you could just use it as a USB situation where you charge up, USB devices through the USB-C. I think it's rated at like 45 watts. And then it has an A port on it. But yeah. So yeah, you got to reach out to me. solarquestions@askive.com. Yeah. It was good to see you. I hope all is well. Let's see here. A buck converter to stabilize the power at 12 volts is good to have for sensitive equipment. A buck converter. Boost, buck. Whoa. Oh, interesting. I guess, yeah, that makes sense. I can understand that. I don't know that I would go through all of that, but I can see how that makes sense. I think we did that. I have the DJI Mavic 2 Zoom drone for making one of my music videos. That's nice. I've been thinking about getting one of their smaller cameras too. Yeah. The DJI Action 4 is $209. If any of you guys want a camera and you're considering making any type of content or just capturing life in some capacity, I almost bought one, not for real, but I almost bought one just off of GP because $209 is crazy. And they just came out with the DJI 5 Pro, which is really just a DJI 4 Pro, in my opinion. And it's like $350, which is still affordable. So it's typically $349 for the latest one, $249 for the one that just came out about a year ago. And now it's on sale for $209. Did I pull up a joint on there so I could just show you what I'm talking about? Let's see here. Here it goes. This is wild to me. $209 for the kind of quality you get out of DJI Action cameras is great. Now, a lot of people feel like GoPro's video quality is better, and I would agree with that. But it's only better. It may give you a little more clarity, but it's more saturated, and you could just bump up the saturation in your edit. And it only really matters if you're looking at these things side by side. But GoPro has a reliability issue where they'll freeze on you. They'll overheat on you. So DJI has had GoPro beat from the usability department for a long time. DJI was the first ones to put the dual screen in there. I love that from a content creation standpoint. That has helped me tremendously. This particular one that I have here, it has the screen on the front and the screen on the back, but you had to always switch them, which it made the situation clunky. Whereas like the Osmo 3 and the 4, they have the dual screens, and I think they both run at the same time. The 4 definitely runs at the same time, and the 5 runs at the same time, which is pretty cool. Great little content maker machines, man. Get you an SD card, put it in linear or wild out and put it in super wide. I think they're fantastic. The reason why I got into action cameras was because in capturing my children when they were small, they're babies, so they're crawling, and you're kind of hanging around with them. And if you try to record them with your phone, you have to be so far back with your phone. Phones have widescreen cameras now, but the widescreen cameras are not as good as the native ones. So you kind of have more options now than we had back then. LG was one of the few companies that had dual angle cameras. They are the phone companies that gave us wide angle cameras, which is why I rock with LG. I miss my LGs to this day because of stuff like that. But with the action cameras being so wide, I could be right up on my kids and still capture the majority of the action versus the tight angle that you would catch from a cell phone. So you either have to be close and tight, or you'd have to be far away from a baby. You know what I mean? So yeah, action cameras are nice. And it's $209, man. If that's not an impulse version to get into content creation, I don't know what is. What do we have here? So the EcoFlow River 2 Max. I want that River 2 Pro. I know I got a tab around here somewhere. Actually, so check this out. The Jackery situation, I mentioned this earlier. Now, while I would not advise anybody to buy a Jackery, what do we have here? This is a kit. I don't know if I wanted the kit. Let's see. Jackery has some nice looking panels, man. They always have had nice panels. I was getting at something here. So we got the Jackery 1000 Plus. I don't know much about Jackery, but it's 2,500 watt hours. And I'm sure it's a 2000, yes, a 2000 watt inverter, and it's hitting on $13.99. Now, I'm not saying that this is the best battery. This is the best deal. I wonder what this is about. Does it just mean 2000 watt hours because this is 1000 watt hours by itself and then it's 2000 with the battery? But for the price, this is not crazy good, but I feel like it's closer to what you would normally want to pay for a power station. What's the MSRP on this? Yeah, $2,000. I don't know. It caught my eye initially, and I'm not sure why at the moment. But some people like they like Jackery. I don't know why, but they rock with Jackery. So let's see. Am I grabbing anything for Black Friday? No, I don't have the coins. I'm kind of eyeing like little USB-C chargers and things like that, stuff that costs like 20, 30 bucks. Because I don't need necessarily any power stations. Especially, and then the type of power stations that I would need, they're going to be more costly. And I don't have the coins for it. Hey, Kimber Jack. I was just thinking about you like maybe 2 days ago, because on another note, Kimber Jack had one of my 200 watt panels from All Powers. Now it was not performing well, but it still was performing well enough to be a folding panel. I have a 300 watt Yolanis panel that is kind of essentially peeling. So what I was going to do is I was just going to hammer that dip until it stopped working. But I felt like, why not just give it to one of you guys who may want it, and then y'all could use it. You could hammer it if you want to, or you could use it sparsely and extend its life. But the panel is peeling. So during the next live stream, maybe we'll figure that stuff out and who wants it and who can have it and all of that jazz, and pick a comment. Lower 48 type stuff. But yeah, it's out there. It's an optional panel. I'm disappointed in it peeling like that. But if somebody wants to get it and baby it and use it only when they need it, I'm gonna give it away, because I'm just gonna run it into the ground until it stops working. And I feel like one of y'all would get better use out of it than me, because it's really just an optional panel. Usually the coupon is $35 off, and it doesn't always have the coupon. Okay, so that battery that Robert was talking about is one that goes on sale often. It's a Vimdia. Let me show it to you again if it's still around here. The Vimdia, I guess it has built-in blah, blah, blah. I don't see any Bluetooth here. So it looks like to be a pretty basic power station. I'm sorry, power station battery. And hopefully you get one that lasts for a while, because we know that sometimes when Jason Noy or Will Prouse tears down these batteries, they can be less than impressed. And for something that price, I mean, you tread carefully. It's $149 now. And Robert is saying that there's typically a coupon on it. I hear you, sleeper. Thanks for hanging out for however long you hung out, man. Always appreciate seeing you. You're welcome. Let's see. It's a good price. What's up, Kevin? Good to see you, boss. I like the Insta360s. The only thing I don't like about the Insta360, wait. Okay, I take that back. It's still applicable. Okay, they have the Insta Action camera, and then they have the 360 camera. I think the X something or another. The only thing I don't like about them is to get the best out of them, you have to use their app. So it adds another layer to editing. I actually had an Insta 360 something or another. I bought off the marketplace and it stopped working on me. And the quality wasn't that great, but the form factor was fantastic for when I was out with the family. I didn't use it a whole lot. It didn't last long on me. I still have it. It's not working. And you know, I just had to take the L, right? So let's see. That's what I hadn't bought one yet. That's why I hadn't, because I was deciding between GoPro and DJI. Yeah. No, I wouldn't go GoPro. Bouge RV does have Black Friday deals. I got another one of their 50-watt fiberglass panels in my shopping cart. I gave the first one I bought to my daughter this week. Oh, that's interesting. How much is it going to cost? They had the C charger 65 watts for $6. I bought 6 of them during the midnight sale. Oh, that's interesting. That's pretty that's pretty affordable. What kind was it? What do you like about the Institute? What do you like about them, and who makes them? It's who makes those joints? I think the company is like Insta. Don't get me to making stuff up. They have a couple, yes, the company is Insta360. And they have a couple of different versions of those cameras now. They have the Insta360 Go. They have like 3 versions of that. They're not all live. I mean, they're just older versions. So like the Osmo Action 1, the 2, the 3, the 4. They're on about 3 or 4 of them right now. And then they have like the true 360 cameras, which people like. I mean, it's really convenient to have that, but then you got to go in, and I'm just not into that, man. I'm all about speed. I got a bundle of 2U green solar panels, 200 watt for $134 today. Coupon solar 60. That's actually pretty good. A 200 watt panel for $134. Yeah, I ain't mad at that. I ain't mad at that at all. Okay, let's see what else we got here. I was going drift into EcoFlow. What you doing? Copy, paste, pasta. This ain't bad. $300 for 500 watt hours. Guys, you can do the math on the watt hour cost by just dividing the dollar amount by the watt hour capacity, I believe. It's one of those ways. Like you do. Let me see. Let me confirm that. I think you would take 278 and then divide it by 499 to get your watt hour. Yes, 55 cents a watt hour for that one, which ain't bad. Mine has the whining noise. I actually own this power station. I bought it myself on a pretty good deal with a solar panel. I sold the solar panel to kind of make the cost come down of the power station itself. So I came out pretty good. I don't remember what it was, but this one's okay. So it's $279, and then we have let's look at the Bluetti joint, the AC50. Oh, the EB3A for $200. I'm like, shoulder shrug. You get that one down to like 149, 159, even 169, and then I'm kind of okay with that. But it's always been $200, and the EB3A has been out for a while, so it's kind of like, I'm not really moved by that. The AC50, AC70, here it is. So $279 here. So it's the same price as the EcoFlow. The EcoFlow is interesting because so it's about 500 watt hours for $279. I think the EcoFlow wins out in this one. 700 watts of power, 448 watt hours. Yeah. EcoFlow wins. The Max wins this one. Outside of the whining noise, you got 4 ports on this one. You have 5521. You have bi-directional USB-C at 100 watts. You have the 60 volt input limit. The Bluetti does not have 60 volts. It's a regular like single panel situation. I shouldn't say that. You'd have to you could do a double panel in parallel. Yeah, EcoFlow wins on this one. Definitely. But when it comes to the Pro and the AC70, the AC70 wins. Dude, that is not what I intended to do. AC70 is a much better deal than the River 2 Pro. So this one is $379, and it does 1,000 watts of power, 768 watt hours of whatever. It does 500 watts of solar up to 60 volts or 58 volts, as you can see here. It has 2 USB-C 100s. The Delta, the River Pro, what kind is it?
It's kind of like a game that I already have.
That doesn't help me much. What kind of game is it?
It's a life simulating game.
Un momento, por favor. Evolution of dinosaurs, technology, and beyond. Oh. Yeah, it's interesting. It's on some evolution stuff, but yeah, it's fine. Give it a shot.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Let's see if this one even shows the EcoFlow anywhere around here. How's the Max? Can I get the Pro from off of the Max? Where we at here? Here we go. So the River 2 Pro, comparable watt hours, an 800 watt inverter, so it's less than the AC70. I mentioned that, it has 4 outlets. That's not bad. The AC70 has 2, I believe. So it's winning on outlet numbers. The XT60 on this one is the same as the River 2 Max, which I thought was a failure on their part. They really should have gave this one more solar input. So it's maxed out at 220 watts of solar, just like the Max. There's an XT60 connection on the back. I'm sure a lot of times what I notice when I'm dealing with my EcoFlow River 2 Max, the XT60 on it is flipped. So whenever I plug it into my All Powers or the Bluetti or I think anything else, you know what I do like about the AC70 more than this joint? It certainly beats it out in a lot of situations. Where is it? I thought I had it up. I like that the majority of the ports are on the front. So the XT60 is on the front here, but the XT60 is on the back of the EcoFlow River. And to be honest, guys, sometimes that matters, but you don't realize it matters until you get that joker in your house. So I kind of want to help, the usability of some of these power stations and the way in which they work, some things you could be mindful of is, where is your solar cable going to be coming from? Is it going to be coming from a window down into the power station? Would you rather it be in the back? Or are you going to have it in a van situation where you would rather it be in the front? You know what I mean? There's things to think about. Definitely things to think about. But at $379 on the AC 70 compared to the 440 of the EcoFlow, that 379, and this one has always been better in my opinion. So more solar, more AC output, more USB-C ports. I like the form factor a little bit better because the handle does not protrude out of the AC70. I mean, it's a nice little power station. The fact that this can get 500 watts of solar in is bananas. It's bananas. That's freaking fantastic. I don't know in what other ways, maybe there's things that I'm thinking about that could not be comparable. This one is going to have, is not going to have the AC auto on, whereas like the EcoFlow is going to have that. To my understanding, they all have it. Those AC, I think those USB-C ports on the EcoFlow are not fast charge, they're slow charge, which also kind of sucks. But it has the bi-directional USB-C, which is important to me, but not more important than solar input and AC outlet power. I don't think so. Would I still like an EcoFlow River Pro? Absolutely. Absolutely. Without a doubt. All right, let's see here. What we got? What we got? We talked about that. GAN charger. Let's see if we could find that. Shoot, can I copy that? It's kind of stopping me. Let me check my live stream window. I ain't even in it. Is it gonna show? Yeah, it should show. Can I copy from here? Let's see if we can find that. Because I can't say I'm always in the market for chargers, but I've been buying more chargers lately. I just needed to I wonder if this is it. Is this what you were talking about? 31 bucks. Oh no, right here, $6. Is it a single port or dual port? Let's see. $12. Interesting. These are pretty compelling. I don't know how compelled I am with these super cheap deals. I wonder how long this stuff would last, and then how do you make it so cheap? I would be really concerned about just buying something that was so cheap that it just kind of blew up on me after a while or it stopped working. The good thing about grabbing something like this now is that you got until January something to return it. But these devices typically don't break that fast. This is actually a cool form factor right here. I don't like that it folds though, but I like the size of that. Oh, maybe this is the one there's a lot of cheap chargers out here. I don't typically like buying stuff that is this cheap. What do you guys think? So this one is then they're talking about it's GAN too. I don't know if I believe that. It comes with a cable. I wonder if the cable's rated for. Yeah, it's gonna be rated for 60 watts. I was thinking something else. My apologies. That's kind of wild. Like single digits for these kind of chargers. Okay, that one's not particularly impressive. I mean, it gives you 65 watts in a dual joint. How does it split it? So it splits in an interesting way. Oh, black dude. How about that? GAN 3. I don't know if I believe it. I don't know if I believe it. It works good. How long have you had it though? That's the main thing. I don't like buying something that stops working a year later. I'm not a big fan of that. That annoys me. That is really cheap though, but if you buy something that's decent, you could have it for years. So I hope it lasts, man. That's really compelling. I'm still looking at some other options that I pulled up. This looks like a generic kind of situation for $8. I love seeing these things on these power charging things where they show you how it's going to split things up. So here you would get 63 watts. What? Okay, no, you would get 45 and 18, 45 and 18. So if you use one port, you could get 65, but once you introduce, then it splits it different. That's not bad for $8. And it's normally 19, I'm sorry, 17. So this is just a cheap thing all around. I wonder how hot it would get. I have all these questions. And then we look at yeah, returnable until January 31st. I actually bought something. I'll show you in a second what I grabbed. I'm trying to see how does this connect. I see the ports. What the heck is that? Why is it sitting on the table like that? That's weird. I'm trying to figure out what kind. Okay, so it's a. I got you. So it's a direct plug. That's interesting. A 2-port, 65 watt, pretty small, 2 devices simultaneously. It's not telling me how the split happens, so I'm curious about that. Okay, so it'll do, if you do 2 ports, it'll do 45 and 20, which is fine, because if you just pull something else off of it, I actually really like this one a lot in terms of the size. That would be a cool little joint to walk out of the house with when I have to go in the office. Because when I go into the office, I basically take my computer, my personal computer with me. I tether to my own network. I don't connect to my job's network. And I charge from the monitor that I connect to. So the monitor is USB-C and it just gives me, ports and all of that jazz through the one singular cable and video as well. This would be cool to have as an option. So I may seriously think about grabbing one of these. So it'd be pretty cool. There's a couple of videos down at the bottom. I like the size of it. So it's interesting. Man, Byron he be having a scoop, man. I've heard of this company before, a Cuckoo or whatever. $7. Compact size. It's a good little lick to hit right there. All right, what else we got? I didn't see many big power stations that I would kind of be into, but let's poke around a little bit. Well, we got $62. We got this here, Renogy situation, which is not bad if you're still buying 100-watt panels. That's pretty good, and it comes with the brackets. Yeah, that's not bad if you're into 100-watt panels. I feel like I would just rather spend $100 and get like a big old panel. But if space is an issue, then you know what I mean. I've always kept an allotment for people who just don't have space to have bigger panels. Then I can see that working. All right, what's this one? Little something from Jackery. Jack boy, get your bag, Jack boy. This one's $3.99. And it's 1,000-watt hour, 1,500-watt inverter. Like, dang, 1,500 watts, you lost me there. It's interesting, but you lost me. It needs to be 1,800 watts to compete. But outside of it needs to be 1,800 watts. 1,500 watts sucks. You can get some capable power out of it, but you can't really power everything. So the certainty that you have there, it just doesn't exist. So you get a few more watt hours for $3.99. I mean, look, if you put this in perspective, you compare the, let's see, how much was it? The AC70 is $379. You put that in contrast to the $399 Delta 2, the $399 Jackery, then yeah, you may want to go with the Jackery or the Delta 2. I would go with the Delta 2 before I would with a Jackery, but that's just me. It has a better inverter, so the Delta 2 is going to be 1800 watts with the super loud uh, turbine fan. But this is not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. That's the biggest takeaway that I have for Jackery right now, is that the prices during this particular sale, it makes them kind of competitive with everybody else, especially if you just kind of want a Jackery in the first place. So customer service is always good with Jackery, as far as I can tell. Some people have commented and said that it wasn't. Not a whole lot of people. I have a short that gets like crazy views. For Jackery. It's an older video of the Jackery Explorer like 300 that I still have. And I pinned a comment and it's like, what else can I do? People are like, oh, is this great? Oh, can I buy it? Should I grab one? It's $279. It's 300. Should I really get one? And I'm just like, man, just see the pin comment, please. Yeah, that's what I was saying, Chris. The Delta 2 is the same price. Do you have a standalone hotspot device or one you're using your phone? That's a good question. Can I come back to that? That's a fantastic question. I live a peculiar life. I just purchased the AC70. You can get a discount with the Hobo Tech coupons on the Bluetti site, $360 before tax. I dig it. That's interesting. I just got it. People are buying faster chargers, so they are selling them cheap. I guess. I don't know, man. I don't know if I subscribe to that logic. You need to get back on Firefox for what? I only use Amazon and Firefox. That's something I've talked about. Just to give you a quick summary, I fragment or segment my browsing habits so that they're not interconnected, and looking at cookies and kind of seeing how they can sell me stuff based on what I looked at. Facebook lives in Edge, Microsoft Edge, which is based on Chrome now. It used to be Internet Explorer. I do Facebook and work in Edge. I do Amazon only in Firefox. I do my real like browsing in Brave. And then I do YouTube in this browser called Vivaldi. The only thing about Vivaldi is it's Chrome based. That's kind of why I put Google in there. I also do all my YouTube stuff in Chrome. So it's like I keep everything parsed out. But Vivaldi used to block the ads in YouTube, but YouTube has sensed that Vivaldi is doing that. So they're always telling me like, yeah, you're using an ad blocker. We'll let you slide this one time, but we're gonna start blocking it. And I don't want to have any problems with my account, so I just don't do it over there. But Brave blocks the ads, but I'm not signed into YouTube on Brave. I'm only signed into YouTube on Chrome and Vivaldi. So they serve very specific purposes. What else? Yeah, that pretty much wraps it up. I do my real browsing in Brave. So Brave is a catch-all for everything else, not Facebook, not Amazon, not Google, which are like the big three. I think they have some kind of like acronym. Not maybe acronym is a word. Just in terms of the privacy community and how Facebook, Amazon, and Google, Facebook, Amazon, and Google. I don't know why my brain went there. I was born at a certain time. No excuses. No excuses. Let's see. All right, we got that one. And get a Proton email account. Oh, fancy. Look at you guys. I'm this close to getting Proton. I really am. So on Brave for Life. Yeah. I love Brave. Brave is the homie. Delta 2. Okay, we got that. So let me talk about this for a little bit. I have a tech channel that I've never put a video on. What I do, I find that going a separate hotspot is never worth it for me. So all I do, I have multiple phones. This is my main phone. It's a Galaxy S21 Fan Edition. This is also a Galaxy S21 Fan Edition. This is the main phone that I use for askivesolar. This is my main phone that I use for everything else. They kind of cross paths, but I have a OnePlus 6T that only has uh it has Lineage OS on it with no Google. So it is a de-Googled phone. I'm a fan of de-Googled phones as an option. I don't think I could ever daily a de-Googled phone. Essentially what that means, it sounds just like it sounds. There's no Google on the phone. There's no adding an account for Gmail or anything like that. You have to use F-Droid as your app store, or this store called Aurora Store. Aurora Store is like a front end for all of the Google Play applications or apps, and the F-Droid is a front end, the app to the F-Droid application database, which stands for free and open source applications. So those applications they have source code that can be reviewed by anybody, which is why they're called open source. And you don't have the same apps there that you would have in a different place. One interesting thing is that, Telegram has a open source application that you could get from F-Droid, but then you could also download it from the Google Play Store. So what I do is I'd much rather go to someone like Mint Mobile, get 20 gigabytes for like $20 or something like that, or 25 or whatever the introductory price is, and have an actual phone than have a hotspot plan that I put into a hotspot device. I'd rather have, what I mean? It's just like, it's more useful to have a real phone with you. So if I'm running and gunning in a situation where, just ignore what I told you these two phones are for. If this is my main phone, but this is the phone that I use as a hotspot, then I could take this and it's still a phone. So if I needed to grab it to do Google Map directions or anything like that while I'm still using my main phone, then listen. I don't understand how people walk through this life with one phone. I don't get it. I don't understand it. If I'm watching, something on here, a YouTube video, and I needed to do something else like respond to a text message, I don't want to get out of my YouTube video to go and text message. That's just weird to me. I'm not into that. So I use a standalone phone as my hotspot, but this phone is also hotspot capable as well. I use a service called Visible Mobile. And the cool thing about Visible Mobile, oh, MJ is messaging me. The cool thing about Visible Mobile is they have unlimited hotspot, but they just have it limited by speed. Whereas like most companies will say, okay, we'll give you 5 gigs of hotspot, 10 gigs of hotspot. Visible's is unlimited, but you can only go as fast as like 5 megabytes per second. And it's $25 a month, and it's Verizon service. It's deprioritized Verizon service when the network gets congested, but you could bump up to their $45 plan, and then you got prioritized data. You get 10 megabits, bytes, whatever it is per second on that unlimited hotspot, and you actually get a free like smartwatch. If any of you guys want to go with Visible, I have a code for that. Like let's work together. I don't know what the code is. I'll put some stuff in the description after I get off the live stream. So that answers that question. I do have the AC70. Bluetti sent it to me, and I'm very appreciative because I like that device. I've always been a fan. Now, I was kind of shocked. I'll see if anybody has any questions as related to that. If you guys would like me to do like a tech-related live stream, just let me know. And we'll figure something out. Now, this one doesn't show the price right now. I have the Go All Powers R1500, which is a nice little device. It's saying that it's $549 in my specific window, and then it has an 8% code. I'm a little bit shocked that All Powers does not have a better offering in this sale for Black Friday, because All Powers, in my opinion, is the budget friendly kind of king. Them, Pecron, and Oupes are kind of all like figuring it out, but All Powers has been one of the cheaper. Okay, they got the All Powers R600 for $175. That's not bad. And I like that that All Powers. It's a super capable little device. 60-volt input limit, 300 watt hour, 600 watt inverter, two 100 watt USB-C ports on it. This is an interesting version. This is kind of like an older version. It's upgraded, but it's still older because they fixed the ports on one of their versions where the ports are now right side up. And the XT60 over here and the plugs over here, they more so align to what the icons show on this little flap right here, whereas like they didn't before. So if you open this flap and it showed the XT60 sideways, when you flipped it open, it would be vertical. So it's really weird. And also they got rid of their 55, their barrel connectors on their power stations. This one has Bluetooth on it, wireless charging. It's a super capable little power dump device where you could throw about 200 watts of solar into it, and it has a 60-volt input limit, which is very rare on a 300 watt hour power station. That's why when this Joker came out, I considered it to be the king of that particular segment of power stations. And I don't think anything has dethroned it, to be honest. It has its quirks. I've had issues with them, but it's one of the more capable ones. We can also talk about the Pecron E600LFP, which is not on sale, but it just has always been affordable. I wish I was on Jason Noise Live because he was talking about it, and he was right. They did used to be 400 watts of solar, but then they had to drop it down. And I suspect why they had to drop it down is because maybe it was too much heat, or they was trying to do too much. They were too adventurous. But this device will always be interesting to me at $299 for the 1200 watt inverter. Can take in, I think, 300 watts of solar, and then it's a 614 watt hour battery with a 95 volt solar input limit. I ain't even touch on Pecron. Pecron has a crazy deal on a bigger power station that you guys should check out. We'll get to it in a second. Let's see. What's a couple, at least one Pecron right here. I also looked at these smaller power stations too. They were kind of intriguing to me. So you got, oh, look at a Tenergy OG. That's a bigger one, but that price is crazy. Tenergy is being real disrespectful right now. This one is always interesting because it's always at like $330. So no matter what you need, and you could kind of probably get by on it running a fridge for you, but it's a little iffy because 1200 watts is not a whole lot to capture that compressor bump. Actually, let's do this. Let's go to the Pecron store. Let me see what y'all had to say. And I do want to get a Proton email. I've heard of them. I think you're on to something, Robert. I've got too dependent on Chrome. Yes, you have. You just saying that, I know that's true. That's terrible. My wife is all in on Chrome. I've been really trying to de-Googlefy my life. I give them what I have to give them, but I don't want all my eggs in one basket. No Google on the phone. I didn't even know it could still be done. Yeah, you can throw. I actually, man, we're gonna have to do a tech joint. We're gonna just have to do a tech live stream. Some of us grew up with one phone that was connected to the wall. What is it? No. I would say in this room, all of us grew up with one phone connected to the wall. Yes, please. A tech live stream would be great. Yeah, we'll see if we can get that done. Actually, I have a Nexus. What's it called? What are their phones called now? Pixel. I have a Pixel 6a that runs Graphene OS. I didn't like it at first, but it has grown on me. And we'll figure that out. What I need to do is I need to launch my tech channel. My tech channel is going to be called Random Tech Videos because I'm not necessarily looking to grow the channel. If it grows, thank God for that. But I just feel like a lot of times I can't find what I'm looking for. And I would like to contribute to the community. So the Random Tech Videos channel is just my contribution to the internet. And I want to do the videos around some of these like topics. But the reason why I call it Random Tech Videos is because I don't want to be pigeonholed into one particular thing. And a lot of people feel that way, but you can't grow with that mindset. So I'm okay with just not growing. I could even be like, yeah, don't subscribe to this channel because the next video will be nothing like this. So but I think I have a nice enough personality that people may want to subscribe just to see what I may be talking about. But I bought I'll show you. This is related to power. I purchased this device. It's the Baseus something. I don't know how you say it. I feel like if I put forth the effort, I could kind of say it, but I haven't. Baseus. Yeah, let's go with Baseus. I bought a Baseus. It was on Slick Deals. I very often go to slickdeals.com/phones or something like that. Power banks, power strips. Let's do that. Will it let me? Nope. Dog it. Okay, I don't have time for this. Let's just do power. Oh, let's do. What can I do? Outlet. I just want to see everything. I don't have time to be looking through these freaking categories up here. It was maybe something like, I didn't buy this, but this device right here is something I got. I have a black one and basically just this. And I got it for like $19. So it's a 40 watt. It's actually, this device is just black. Let me see if I can find. No, they're being weird about showing it to me. What is this thing called? A power strip surge protector. All right. Let me see if I can just search for that. I kind of want to show you the exact device. It's not this one, but I think it'll show up under the selection options of this one. Oh, it doesn't. Man, they're always changing stuff up. But anyway, okay, so cool. This thing, I bought a 40 watt one, right? So it has the 2 USB ports and 1 USB-A, I believe. But you see this button right here? This button is touch sensitive, and it's annoying because it always turns it on or off inadvertently. So it has an outlet on both sides, a 3-prong, and then it has a 2-prong, and then it has some outlets on the front. What I do like about the device is that the cable is not detachable. I actually would have been okay with the cable being detachable because it wasn't. I just came to terms with it and I was like, oh, well, I could see that as a pro. Because sometimes on those ones that have the detachable cable, sure, you can replace the cable if you needed to. You could throw a shorter one on it. You could throw a longer one on it. But sometimes it comes unplugged. So with this one being an extension cord more than anything, surge protector, that one does not come apart. But this button being on here is annoying. And another thing that is annoying is that none of these ports work unless this button is on. And I really feel like what should have happened is the DC ports, the USB ports should have been on all the time. and then you just use the switch for the AC ports. But the whole thing is powered by the thing, which is, it makes sense, right? But I just did not expect that, and I don't think most people would expect that. So I thought about making a video about it, a random tech video. Here's your sign. I wish I could find the exact one I had. It was a lot cheaper, and I saw it on Slick Deals. I'm gonna actually see if I can find it, because I'm weird like that. It also did not charge my, yeah, this is it right here. It also did not charge my laptop. It's $40 with a 40% off coupon. The Joker came down to being like $20. And I was debating on whether I should keep it or not, just because it was so cheap. But this is the exact one that I have. I do like that I can get 40 watts out of the port, but the 60-watt joint was just not as cheap. It didn't have as good a deal on it. So that one's just $40. But this would be the one that I need, because then I could use it. It'd be super versatile with the outlets on it, and then I could know if I needed to charge my laptop from it, or any laptop, I could get the 65 watts that I need. And it doesn't work with my joint. Now, to be honest, my laptop has been having some issues with the charge port, but I think I tried both of them. I have an HP like Spectre with that rose gold stuff on it. But I like the device, so I kind of want to keep it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that it's around and it's available in case my wife just needs an extension cord, and then she could charge phones up from it, because that's the main thing that I wanted it to do. To be able to put 2 phones on it through USB-C would be fantastic. And then if I needed to get 60 watts or 100 watts, I could just plug in a separate joint into the outlet. But I don't like that you can inadvertently turn this on and off because it's touch sensitive. If it had the ability to just be depressed, that would be much better. That touch sensitive stuff is for the birds. Let's see. Let's bring this back. What? Oh yeah, no doubt. Let's see. I still use Google to do some phone calls myself as well. I rock with Google Voice. I've been on Google Voice. Yeah, it's been a while. I feel like, and it may apply to a lot of us, like when Google was invite only is when I was getting into the Google space. So Google's been around for a long time. I like them better when their motto was "Don't be evil." Yeah, less stuff for sure. Hey, enjoy the movie. I'm often out and about with a mobile phone in my laptop and or with a tablet, so I'll only get another cell phone to replace my hotspot device. Yeah, and the plans are better. I've gone through this stuff a lot. You could go with so what I do also is for the summer months, I'll get like a 3, because you could do Mint Mobile for 3 months. You could get like a 20 gig joint for like $20 or something like that. So you pay $60 because it's a 3-month dip. So I'll spend the $60 and then I'll just throw that into a phone, and I got 20 gigs, and that'll just be my kids' hotspot data for when they're doing this stuff. And then I still have my phone that has the ability to do hotspot. So I kind of just mix it in. I tether from this one to give them something. Or if I need to have this for my work situation when I'm working remotely, then I'll use a different phone for their hotspot, and then I'll use this for my particular stuff, so that we are like segmented off and they're not eating into my throughput. Oh man. So yeah, I like that much better. And then I have an actual device I can use. So you pair that with, if you do that, I wouldn't typically put a Google account on there, but even if you do put a Google account on there, just turn the synchronization off. You will be surprised how long your phone's battery will last if, one, you don't have a Google account on there. Two, if you do have one, you turn sync off, or if you just have no Google on it at all. The phone batteries last forever. It's like days. I feel like I wish I could show you, but it's days. Those phones are upstairs. Google is the stuff that's draining your battery. Your accounts added to it and synchronizing all the time. I turn synchronization off on all my phones for that reason. Even the ones I have accounts added to. I'm like, man, I don't need you to sync nothing. If I need email, I could swipe down. I don't need it constantly talking to Google all the time. But graphene, yeah, I rock with tech, so I could talk about tech all a good bit. I want to look at these Pecron devices though, so let's try and do that. I think the best deal that I heard people talking about was the larger power station from Pecron, which is the 3000 joint. Let's see. Man, Pecron, I remember Pecron's power stations used to be so weird. Why is this one on pre-order? That's interesting. So $459. I don't know much about this one. The E1000. I'm familiar with the E1500. So this one is kind of like your AC180, your Delta 2, your Delta 3 Plus, and your Anker C1000 is kind of a competitor for that. That's interesting. So let's bring this, because I'm trying to see if this has the dual. Man, Pecron, they just do so much stuff well. I wonder if this has the dual MPPTs. I think it's the E3000, 1350. Yeah, like you think about Jackery in this situation, $1,359. They were charging $1,400 for a 2K situation. So Pecron is doing 3,600 watts, 3,000 watt hours for $1,500, and it could be cheaper than that somewhere else. Let's see what Amazon is kind of talking about. I just want to make sure that I point you guys in the right direction. And if you're gonna buy any of this stuff, what you can do if you want to give your boy, let me look into you. If you want to give your boy credit for the purchase, just go to any of my previous videos that have Amazon links on them and click any of those links and then proceed to shop in that session. It doesn't have to be a link for a specific device. They'll give me credit as long as you use one of my links to start your session. If you're into that kind of thing, it supports the channel and all of that jazz. All right. One thing about doing this is it's a lot of tabs. No name. What's happening? Yeah, it's about $1,400 over here too. But look at the E1500. That one's $619. This one for sure has the dual MPPTs on here. What does that say? Yeah, you can go, oh my. I wanted to say, oh wow, instead of oh my. It goes up to 150 volts. That's crazy. And 150 volts twice. Holy moly. You will fill this thing up so quick. This is the kind, Pecron makes the kind of power stations that your boy need. I need this kind of flexibility with my stuff. That's why I've always been a fan of the Bluetti AC300 because it has those dual MPPTs for 1,200 watts a piece. I don't know what this one is rated at, but let's take a look at it. In terms of the solar input. Solar input is, and they're XT60s. Oh man, come on now. Come on now, dog. That's pretty dope. That's pretty dope. If I'm reading that right, there's a 5521 with 150 watts max, which I really like that they've done 150 watts instead of 100. We talked about that on the previous live stream about 1 or 2 live streams ago, but they have XT60 now. And you could do you could do 1,200 watts max on both. So it's pretty much the same as the AC. It's the same as the AC300. Well, you got dual MPPTs for 1200 watts. That's pretty fly, guys. I'm just keeping it a buck. $1,400 for 3,000 watt hours, a 3,000 watt inverter, and then you could toss as much solar as you want against that thing. Man, just the voltage input in itself would solve so many problems for me. So many issues would be solved. I could put two 300 watt panels in series, and then put two more in series, and then put those jokers in parallel because it has a 20 amp max. Even though I wouldn't need the 20 amps, I feel like 15 would be fine because those panels typically put out about 6 to 7 amps. So 20 amp max is fire. And then you get to do that twice. You get to do it twice. So you could have, I could essentially have, hear me out. I could have 1200 watts go into one MPPT charge controller, and then have a whole nother charge controller just available. Oh man, that's pretty fantastic. If I could get to a space where I could talk Pecron into sending me that, which I don't think I can. I don't have the goodwill with them, I don't believe. And I definitely don't think I have the subscriber count. But maybe what I can do is I could pitch it where I have, because I've been working with this guy on my thumbnails, which has been working out pretty good. I don't know if I could continue to pay for thumbnails, but I'm being strategic and kind of trying to see how our relationship can work and what kind of results I can get with the thumbnails. Maybe if I could come up with a thumbnail and an idea that I think would generate the views that Pecron would be happy with, and maybe they would send me one. Because if I could bang one out of the park, like my Tim got battery video, that one has 11,000 views on it, which is nice. I feel like they definitely, if any amount of turnover is happening in that video for people to buy. I mean, people like those batteries of various sizes. Maybe I could justify it that way, because this would be a game changer for my home setup for sure, without a doubt. I even think they have application connectivity on these devices now, which is something that they didn't have before. Yeah, look at this. They even got an app. This would be, man, Pecron is Pecron's been on the right path for the last year or two, without a doubt. $1,400, and then it's not that expensive to begin with. I mean, 2,300 is a lot, but it's for a 3,000 watt hour joint. I'm sure it doesn't go for 2,200 on a regular. That's just the MSRP. I imagine that this is probably running about like 1,900, 1,999, something like that. It says a 30 amp AC cable included free during sale. Yeah, what you gonna do with a 30 amp AC cable? That's crazy. Oh, you can run these in parallel too. That's pretty nice. Huh. Yeah, I'm gonna have to start giving this some thought on how I could come up with something that I think would work for them in terms of return on. Now, this I'm not a fan of. All these ports on here, and you only got one USB-C 100. That's just tragic. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay, let's look at see what Oupes has going on in their situation. Let me check out comments real quick. Okay, we talked about that. We'll switch this over. I'm often out and about. True. I think what you should probably look into, Radiant, you should look into. Actually, I tried this plan from this company called Leica Mobile. It runs off T-Mobile, and they did 6 months of unlimited data with I think like 10 gigs of hotspot for like $12.50 a month. And you pay that on an auto payment plan for 6 months. I would just set a calendar reminder in your phone to let you know when to change it. But that's pretty dope. What's up?
So for some reason, I don't know what to press. Like whenever I press one of these, it just turns me into something that's really, really weird. I can't understand it.
So whenever you see a box check like that, that's kind of what they want you to do.
That's what I tried to do, but it didn't let me press it.
I don't think you tried then,
Okay.
because it worked for me, because I checked the box.
Okay.
Get your attitude together, son.
By the way, can you turn off the ads?
I could try. It may or may not work. Give me 1 second, guys. Here you go.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. I have some 100 watt. I have the same 100 watt Baseus. Nice. Yeah, I wanted to know what they was gonna watch too. I got a cheap JNN PWM charge controller. I should switch to MPPT. Yes, you should. But you know, to be a random text hubby. Let me see if I got the link around here. That's one thing that I've discovered. Thing I may not have it. I started using profiles in Google, and that's just been fire. It's been fire. Okay, we got other. Maybe I'm not signed. Maybe. Let's see. I should be signed in somewhere. I'll figure it out. It's around here somewhere. I'm gonna need to create a profile for it. But I've been getting into using Google profiles in the last like year or so, and I love it. So I'll have like an askivesolar profile, and then I'll have my personal profile, and then I'll have like the family joint, which is for like the stuff that me and my wife share, and then I have a profile for my family channel, which I haven't put a video on in years, and I want to get back to doing that. Because it's documentation for us. If nobody enjoys it, which there will be a few people who would enjoy it. If nobody enjoys it, it's fine. We enjoy it. And it's our life, you know what I mean? We're willing to live our life on camera. But I need to find the random tech videos joint, and I need to start making videos for it. I have a good 4 or 5 channels that I need to start putting stuff out on, which should be easy because I have low expectations for them. Okay. Oh, Deadpool and Wolverine. I will not watch any of those movies. Not that I'm anti any of those movies. I don't find Deadpool to be interesting at all. I've never had a desire to watch any of those movies. I appreciate that. One review says he saw a 200 watt inverter draw at idle. Firmware issue, pretty odd. That's interesting. Wow. I want to try that next year. That joker looks nice. I need something that can power my 1680 watt 14 amp kiln that I make jewelry in. That's interesting. You sure it's 14 amps? A kiln is fire, right? Isn't that heat? Yeah, if it's not spiking like crazy, the Delta 2 should handle it. Any of those 1800 watt hour joints should handle it. 1800 watt joints should handle it. Let me make sure I covered all of the deals that I wanted to talk about. We did that. We did that. This is actually the panels that I was talking about with the Renogy. So 2 pieces, 450 watts for $789. And let me look down here. Free delivery on November 25th, which is Thanksgiving. So whether or not that happens, it will be interesting. I think that's not bad for something like that. Oh, this one was cool too. This was a cool deal if you're still into 100 watt panels. 2 HQST 100 watt panels for $95. It doesn't show 95 here because I'm not logged in, but that's what I see when I'm logged in. And you could get those between November 27th and December 2nd. So one of those panels, they're saying is like $50. Yeah, it even shows $95 here, but when you click it here, it shows, oh, okay, interesting. It went down to 95. Y'all saw that, right? I ain't tripping. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. If you're into 100 watt panels, I think this is peculiar too. I've heard good things about this panel from the likes of Johnny Weekends and Jason Noy. The fact that this one is just a little over $1 a watt, I think is pretty cool. This particular panel had its shortcomings. The stands on the back were not really adjustable, so you couldn't do too much with them in like the winter months. But you could figure it out. But I like the fact that, you know, it's kind of rigid, but not fully glass. So it's a little lighter. I wasn't crazy about the way that it folded up. I think that it was kind of counterintuitive in how it folded up. But nobody seemed to share my concern in that. And I don't have it, so I couldn't make sense of it. But I just think it opened up kind of weird. And nobody said they had a concern about the wires kind of being pinched at the seals because it's put together in such a way where the wires are right inside of these panels. And I think Johnny Weekends made the point that if he needed to replace the wires, then he could. And I was just like, dude, I don't want to do that. But $500 for a 400 watt portable, but rigid, but still lightweight panel, I think that's pretty cool, actually. And I'm a fan of that panel. If I could try it, I would certainly want to. And we have Renogy has some 100 watt panels for a decent price. $62. This is where I like to see 100 watt panels costing $62. But again, keep in mind, you could get a used 300 off of the marketplace for like 100. You know what I mean? So, your pockets ain't my pockets. But if you're into 100 watt panels, these are decent. This from Jackery was interesting as well. I don't know much about it. And Jackery's always doing some weirdo stuff. But for $1,300, you're right around the price of like the Elite V whatever. Then this is why, I'm saying the same thing again, but this is why I was saying these Jackeries being on sale kind of brings them closer to the competition. I actually hope Jackery sells a good bit of these power stations so they can realize this is where you need to be. But how you take a company that is trying to model behind Apple and get them to sell stuff for a more affordable price, I feel like that's pretty much impossible. So don't hold your breath, as they say. Let's see. We talked about the DJI and that one. I thought that this was interesting. I didn't do the math on it, but I bought cables so often that this seemed like a fair price for 10 gauge. When I spend about $20 on my little Renogy 20-foot 12 gauge cables, I always consider that a deal. So for this one to be like $24, I think that's fair. That's a good little price. Because you could run into a situation where you could get 15 foot of 10 gauge from HQST and it'll be like $25 or something crazy like that. What did I want to mention about this? Oh, let's look at some 20-foot 12 gauge. Yeah, you see 20-foot 12 gauge is only like $1 cheaper. And that's kind of affordable. But the Renogy cords that I bought often, they'll typically be like $19 for 20-foot 12 gauge. And then the HQST would be like $17 for like 10-foot 12 gauge or something. It's something crazy like that. So that was a pretty good look. The AC200L is $999, which is kind of wild. Why would you buy the L unless you wanted some of this specific foolishness that they have on there when the I guess that's not fair. Let's pop it up. Because the L does have the high voltage solar input. So that gives it a leg up on the Elite. Oh, I got the wrong link. So yeah, you're gonna get 150 volt input on this one. So that kind of makes it compelling. So if you needed the high solar input, then yeah, that works. I dig that. You know, that's worth spending a stack, I think. What you guys think? What else we got here? Now, just to put things in perspective, what Byron was showing us with those chargers, these are chargers that I had in my cart, and these are $20. And I was suspicious. I haven't ordered these because I just feel like, man, are these things gonna last? So you could tell how I'm rolling out here in these streets. I don't trust some of these things, man. I really don't. But with them jokers being like single digits, I may have to grab a couple. Again, if you want to rock with your boy, just use any link. Let me put a link in the joint. What should I link to? Let's link to something interesting. Man, I feel like Firefox is starting to eat up my freaking ear. I got all these freaking tabs open because I have tabs open in my my real window, and I also got tabs open in the private window. Let's close all powers. I'm going to get out of Edge. Bear with me. I opened up another Chrome window. You know, Chrome is all bloated these days. It used to be the super lightweight browser, but you know, they say you live long enough to become the villain. And that's what Chrome did. Let me see. Actually, I'll just let's go with the best deal. Give a link on that one. So there's a link to the Delta 2, but if you want to buy anything else just by looking at what I showed, I'll put the links in the description after the video is done. Just use that link and then search for whatever you saw here. And if you want to buy it for me to get like 17 cents from the purchase, go for it. I appreciate it. It is all appreciated. All right, covered that. Yeah, I think we pretty fair for a square. Man, that freaking Action 4. So tempting. So tempting. And I already have one. Actually, let me see. Another good thing about the DJI products is they have these wireless microphones. Now, this is not that version. They have a wireless microphone that works over Bluetooth. These do not work over Bluetooth. I have to actually connect it to the camera. And that Bluetooth connection can connect directly to the Pocket 3, the Action 4, and the Action 5 Pro, just off of Bluetooth, which is like fantastic. The ease at which you can create content that sounds good, that you don't have to be tethered with a wire, is freaking fantastic. It has helped me make videos so much more easily than I have in the past because I could just Bluetooth. Your phone die on you, buddy? You probably could charge it up upstairs. Don't do that. Unplug it. I don't want it to fall. You're setting it up to fall. That counter is a mess. Take it upstairs next to daddy's bed. I have 2 black wires coming out. Grab one of those black wires, plug your phone in, and then you could sit right there on the floor and use your phone. Okay, I feel like you weren't listening, so do whatever works for you, son. All right, let's see here. Good evening. I was just getting there. Enjoy all of the side notes and the tech items. I dig it. I appreciate that. Yeah, man, tech is fire. I just checked the specs on my kiln. It does go through cycles with relays. That's interesting. For panels, I'd look at splitting with neighbors and buying from someone like Signature Solar. That's a good point. Even in your region, like Setai has always talked about, like, yeah, getting the viewers together to maybe buy some panels together if you're in the same area of, other viewers, and then y'all could kind of like super cop up and get together and, save on some panels that way. That's always a good idea. I just added another Google profile for my work with an art organization. Just started writing grant proposals for. Yeah, Google profile stuff has really been game changing for me because I like things separate. I really do. And then I'll have on my desktop the profiles will be there, and then they have their own icon. So when I click that icon, it just opens up that one. And then I have my own separate bookmarks for that. I have my own separate, like, it's dope. It's really dope, but I only use it for YouTube. Let's see. I would love to get, Jason actually mentioned the Starlink. I would love to get Starlink with my neighbors or maybe my close by relatives. I've been seeing Starlinks on the marketplace for a decent price. Actually, SetType was saying that in other countries, they're selling them the new minis that they're charging us $600 for. They're selling those dips for like 165, 169 or something like that. It was some kind of sale. I don't know how long it's going to last or how long it will last. But I want one of those Starlink minis, but I'm not going to get one. That's too much money. Way too much money. If that joker ever hits like 249, your boy might have to spend that coin.
So this one can work either.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I told you what to do. You weren't listening to me.
Okay.
Take your phone upstairs, since y'all are in mommy and daddy's room anyway. Listen, son. Take your phone upstairs and you could plug it up right next to daddy's bed. There's wires over there to charge your phone. And then you could still have your phone. Just don't handle my wire rough. I don't need it to be bending at the base. You give it space to have room to fall. You understand what I mean, right? Side note, I think I have too many power stations. I'm really considering, I need to get that Sateki shipped out to former Marshall. I need to figure out how much it's going to cost. I need to get this panel shipped out to Radiant Jasmine. But I think I'm going to give away, it's like I don't want to give them away. They've been so much of a staple in my power station collection. I've had my Oupes and my Big Blue for so long, but the Big Blue is the one that I would probably get rid of next. Here's the problem. This is the reason why I'm hesitant to give away my Big Blue and my Pecron. One, the Big Blue triple charges, the Pecron dual charges. But none of the power stations that I have can be charged via USB-C. And both of those can be charged via USB-C, which I absolutely love. I don't have any big power station because I got my EB70 still. That's kind of like a bonus power station now. I have a situation where it's being powered by a solar panel. When I say bonus, I mean it's not in the zone and it's not connected to solar all the time. That one does have an option to be connected to solar, but it's a solar array that terminates outside. So I would have to bring my power station outside to charge it. It is wintertime here. It does not get below freezing during the day typically. So as long as I keep the power station out of nighttime cold weather, it's fine to bring it out as soon as like the morning breaks. I usually have a thermostat that I keep outside so I can understand how cold it is outside. I program it in Celsius, not program it, but I put it in a Celsius setting so that I could see like if it's at 0, then it's not a good look. I think it needs to be at like 10 degrees Celsius to be safe to charge. I think it's 0 degrees to be safe to discharge. Don't quote me on that, but just know back when I was doing that, I was more aware of what these power stations needed temperature wise. Also keep in mind that even though it's cold or a certain temperature outside, if you're bringing in a power station from inside to outside, then it probably won't get cold enough to cause a problem because it'll be being charged. And if you're charging power stations, it uses heat. I'm not talking about that like I'm a professional. Me and Setai have had these conversations on multiple times, like a couple of years ago. And I find that to be overall true. I have used my EcoFlow, which has a temperature sensor inside of it in some capacity. I've used my EcoFlow a couple of times to bring outside to see what the temperature was. And typically it takes a long time for the power station to get down to a temperature where it's a problem. And I even think in the winter time, you can afford to keep your power stations out in the sun. They don't have to be covered, especially if it's not blazing hot because it's winter. So now you just have the ambient whatever of the sun keeping the power station on the warmer side so it can be charged outside anyway. But I really like to replace my power stations, the ones that I give away. I really like to replace them with power stations that can have similar features and or are upgrades. So I just got the AC70, right? But the AC70 charges over XT60 and AC. And the two power stations that I'm looking to give away are dual charge power stations over USB-C or some type of barrel connector. What you need?
I'm just, well, I wait for my phone to charge it. Can I watch something? And then the next question is, Ladle, and just while I'm watching Ladle, can I eat some chips?
Well, you can't eat chips until you come downstairs. I feel like what y'all need to have next is dinner. Okay. So we need to eat some food next. What time is it? Yeah, it's 9:40. Y'all need to eat.
Can I force watch something out there?
What's on the TV now?
I don't know.
Did y'all finish the movie?
Yeah.
Okay. Your phone is being charged. You can turn your phone on and use it while it's being charged.
But then, so I don't know how.
Stop talking choppy like that. Speak clearly.
Okay, but Daddy, I don't know how to like get on my games. What?
How is that? Okay. Well, I feel like you can find a show to watch on TV. No YouTube. You hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Like right now, the Big Blue, when you charge the Big Blue, the AC doesn't work. That's a limitation that even though I like the device, it doesn't help me a whole lot. I would much rather have a power station that could be charged and discharged at the same time. That goes to show you how long I've had that Big Blue power station. It's the Big Blue Cell Power 500. But I've been using it for so long, man. I'm attached to it. But it needs to get up out of here. I have way too many power stations, and I think it's becoming a little more of a burden. Not really, but how to explain it? Let me say this. I wish my AC50B and my AC70 had USB-C charging. If they did, these devices would be out of here in a second. But they have XT60. Now, real rap, I actually have a USB-C to XT60 cable that could help some kind of way mitigate that. It makes it a little more easy to power dump into those devices. But I think the way that my power system could be possibly going, I don't think I'll need these power stations as much as I think I do. For example, this is the Power Queen Mini. Nice battery. It's a battery. It's not a whole lot that could not be nice about it, but Power Queen is a known brand. This is 1280 watt hours. Cell power is 500 watt hours. If I really needed to power dump into something, I could power dump into this. You know what I mean? So it has the capacity. There's no shortage of me having capacity around here. Now, to be honest with you guys, I shouldn't say being honest. I'm always honest. I need to be saying be frank or to be forward or to be curt. To be frank, I think that's a conversation for a whole nother live stream, but I'll give you a glimpse. I think that I do have enough, like if I have multiple sunny days back to back and I'm not throwing my house on solar, I do need as much watt hour capacity as I can stand, because these power stations get full really fast because of all of these big panels that I have around here. One 300 watt panel will produce 1.5 kilowatt hours of sun power, of watt hour power, or whatever it is, over the course of the day, typically. So I don't have power stations that are, big in the watt hour capacity. Even looking at the Pecron, you throw 300 watt panels on that, and if they're in good sun throughout the day, that joker will get full or close to full. So I don't know, but I'm so used to power dumping, like the Oupes, which is actually right here. This is my OG Oupes. I don't think it has no power in it either. I'm kind of struggling solarly. What you got going on here, Oupes? Yeah, this joker won't even power on. It is dead. But I love the light on here, a nice big diffused light. My AC60 from Bluetti has a light on the back of it. That's what I'm kind of getting at. I put my Pecron by the front in the media, and my TV's on in my living room. I have a video about that, but I'm working my way up to that video. For you guys who are on the live stream, basically, my product videos are more close to being in real time, but my more like real life practical videos, I'm in like summer months. Don't judge me. I got backed up on product videos, and it impeded my ability to stay close with my just non-product videos. So right now, my AC60, which is the waterproof, dustproof joint with the B80 external battery, that one does not get used as much because my Pecron E600LFP is on a 300 watt panel that I put in my front yard. I used to have a 300 and a 200. The 200 watt was a 12 volt, so it worked with the AC60. But because the AC60 is 12 volt only, when I moved that 300 watt panel to the front, I needed to put a different power station in its place. So right now the Pecron is right there. And sometimes I power dump into the AC60/B80 combo, right? I think what I may end up having there in the future could be the AC70. That would be nice. It's not enough watt hour capacity there. So it could have to be the All Powers R1500, which is 1,000 watt-hour joint. It's kind of like the AC180, the Delta 2, the Anker C1000. That's what that would be comparable to. 1,800 watt inverter, good bit of solar you can get in through XT60. And then it has Wi-Fi connectivity, which is always nice. But it has Wi-Fi connectivity that if the device dies, the Wi-Fi connectivity does not come back on automatically. I wish they would fix that in the firmware, but you need a password to update your firmware. And I've just been too lazy to reach out to them to be like, hey, what's the password? Also, the application logs you out so frequently, it becomes annoying. I think you have to log back into the application for All Powers like every week or something crazy like that. All EcoFlow's login stuff is a lot longer, and I hate when I get logged out of the program. It annoys me so much. But the All Powers may be a better fit there. But I love having that AC70, right? Because I could use that AC70 there and just power dump into the AC60B80 using its 8mm port or just straight AC charging. And then that would be kind of cool. The AC70 is going to be a great addition to things around here because it's XT60. I have a lot of XT60 power stations. I have a lot of XT60 solar panels because of those power stations. What I mean is I'm using MC4 to XT60 because I just got a lot going on in that regard. My AC50B is XT60, but it's limited to 12 volts as well. So I can't really charge it with anything, and I have to be very careful to not get into a groove of just swapping XT60 for XT60 because it could fry that device. I did it once and it had the voltage protection kick in, so I don't want that to happen again. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. And like I said, my EB70 is kind of like off. I got my EB3A that's not in the zone anymore. It used to be in my back door, but now my Oupes 1800 is by the back door. I got a couple of what are they called? The R600s, the All Powers. And those have 60-volt input limits, but they're such little power stations, man. They get full so quick, but I deploy them. I do. And I'll deploy an All Powers R600, and then I'll use it to dual charge into like my Bouge RV Juice Go, or I'll dual into my Big Blue. But it's almost like, man, even though the batteries are available, am I gonna want to take a battery? Let me see. Am I gonna want to take a battery charger with all of this foolishness? So it has an AC cable, the charger itself, the clamps, and power dump outside to that. You know what I mean? So it's just like, and also something that I always keep in mind is this idea. My mic is weighing down my shirt. Something that I always keep in mind is this idea that is always better or preferred. In my old mindset, I may need to change to a new mindset. It's always better or preferred to power dump into a power station versus into a battery. Because when I power dump into a power station, that's instant access to AC, DC power. A battery, you got to put something on that battery to charge it, and then you have to put something on that battery to get the power out of it. But that could be fine because what I have is devices like the Pecron. I don't want to mess up these cables, but I have this Pecron dip that will charge from a battery to, I think that's an XT90. Yes, it is. And then I could take that battery and power dump into any power station that takes MC4. So, but I have multiple batteries, so I would have to hook up something like this to multiple batteries to get that, that 1,200 watt hours out of it into something else. But that could be a good situation to find myself in, because then now what I'm more so focused on is powering my house from my power stations and being able to run that situation longer. And then versus like what a big blue being charged from solar would equate to is being able to run a lamp, you know what I mean? Or a TV. So if I switch my mindset from this power dumping into power stations to power dumping into batteries, I immediately get into a place where my AC200P is being able to run a lot longer. Or that's actually the only scenario that works. I mean, I have other power stations, but if I'm going to run my house, I want to run it from the AC200P, and I want to run it from my TimGot 300 amp hour battery with the 200 amp BMS with my BougeRV inverter, because both of those devices, the AC200P and the AC200P and the BougeRV inverter, will give me 120 volts. So I really have to change some things up. So I think that holding on to these power stations could be a situation where I'm kind of having like a brain blockage, like just kind of operating in the old, and I need to switch over to the new. Now, don't get me wrong. I could just put these power stations, I could give away my lithium ion power stations first. Because what I do is my Jackery, my OG Jackery, my Power Smart 500 watt hour power station, and my what is it? The little battery block that I have that has a jump start capacity. It's the Gulu. The Gulu is not LifePo either. I reserve those as power stations that I use in a pinch. Another one that I kind of don't do that for is the GoFort P15. I have a video coming out kind of like next Tuesday about that. I may put it out on Monday because that's a holiday weekend. But it's not a product, it's a fun video. It's like I did the other video where I was running my AC from solar. It's like a video about my walkthrough of my solar system. So it's not gonna get a whole lot of views. I feel like the faithful are gonna watch it, but not a whole lot of people are gonna get into that. But I've been holding on to my non-LifePo power stations and not cycling them as much, right? That's the main reason why they're on reserve. But what I could do is I could just give away those power stations and then hold on to my LFP power stations, even though they have limitations. They're LFP. I don't know. My son is into solar as well. I could give him a bigger one with his situation. So it's very interesting. So I have some things to think about. I think he may end up kind of using some of these all powers ones. That would be cool for him. They're not a whole lot of watt hour capacity. They have a little flashlight on them. They have a couple USB ports on it. There's application connectivity. Not that he would get into the application aspect of things, but those may be good power stations to give them the responsibility of charging, and then they will have their own situation in their whole ecosystem. I love when my middle son kind of comes and he'll grab like the Gulu to put light in his room, because they're going through this phase of being afraid of the dark. So he'll grab a power station and use the light on it. I think that that's super, super cool. So yeah, I just have to figure out a way to give these things homes. If I'm switching over to the mindset of BougeRV 2000 watt inverter, AC200P being my main things that run my entire house outside of my stove, then I could charge a lot of these power stations off of any outlet in my house using just an AC cable. Something as y'all know how this works, but I'll show you visually anyway. Something like this, you know what I mean? And that would be cool. It would be. So I have all of these little like micro zones, and I want to really clean them up. I feel like I could use something like a Mega 2 again. I really tried to make that situation work, but those devices just kept dying on me if I let them get to 0%. I had like 3 of them dips that I had to send back. Pecron would be nice. That any of them Pecron situations would be nice. Those 95 volt limits are perfect for a dual panel situation. 240-volt panels, you're still not touching the 95 volts. And most panels kind of are at about 40 volts. So, yeah, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Let me see what y'all snapping and trapping about. Let's see. Let's see. What's up, Kohack? Kohack, listen. I have some power stations that I wouldn't necessarily say could only go to you, but you've taken like non-working power stations from me before. So whenever I think about that, I think about you. I think I have an all powers, maybe. I know for sure I got a some kind of power station. And I know I'm not going to take the time to figure out how to use these batteries in there because I'm sure the batteries are fine. But I got at least two. I actually have one of these. The flash fish. One of these broke. It stopped working. It's a 440 something watt hour power station. I have one just sitting in my living room under under my Pecron. My Pecron is on top of it. It's not working. It's 440 something watt hours of battery in here. If anybody wanted to take it apart, I need to figure that out. So I need to get into a live stream where I'm kind of figuring out how to parse out some of these devices that are just sitting around. Okay, let me see. Hold on. I'm trying to get back to the comments I didn't read. some people collect stamps. You collect power stations. Hey, you know. That's funny. Let's see. Cool to know. That's clear. Sound is very important to me. Yeah, facts. Okay, we Amazon link. Boom. All right. FYI, on some of the detailed graphics pages on Amazon, it's stated two. Okay, I'm not sure what you're addressing there, but boom. Okay, we got that. On one of the, okay, you're saying again, the Pecron, it says, shows two 100. Oh, interesting. Okay, so they may have 200 watts. I didn't see it in the picture, but I gotcha. Didn't know if it was a mistake or not. What was the oldest power station? What's the oldest power station you have? My OG power station, I still have it. It's my Bowden's 166 watt hour. My son has it, but I kept it. I was gonna give that away, but my wife and Wayne talked me into keeping it for nostalgic reasons. I was like, all right. The difference is I really uses his. Yeah, I do. I certainly do. I actually really like the diffuse light on the Big Blue. That one's nice. What'll happen is the Big Blue will run a lamp in my living room, and sometimes when I don't feel like burning that 10 watts of power, I just turn the light on and then turn the power station around and let the light kind of project into the living room. Because it's like we're not down here, but having a little bit of light is nice, and it's coming from a power station from the sun. So yeah, I definitely use them. They're not sitting around, that's for sure. Or replace them with more powerful inverters and charge controllers. You know, unfortunately, I do collect power stations. My Achilles heel. Have you used your DC charge enhancer much? No. My DC charge enhancer is going to shake up my solar power system so much that I'm slow walking that, because my AC200P is upstairs sitting right next to this joint, my desk right now. It's what's running my live stream. And I got to get off of here soon and feed these churn. If I want to use my DC charge enhancer, this first scenario, it's just not going to work. I would have to run another wire either into my window right here, which is where my air conditioner typically kind of goes in this window. We just pulled it out for the winter season. I'm not going to run a wire through this window. That's weird. The wire coming into this power station now comes from the back door window of my home. And I'd have to run another dual MC4 cable to get solar power into this dip. And I don't feel like I want to do that. Right now, our refrigerator doesn't really fit in the cut that the previous refrigerator did. So we have the wire kind of going across the refrigerator, and it's really whack that it has to do that. I'm used to having it down on the floor, like strung in front of the refrigerator, with the refrigerator being pushed back. So I feel like I need to bring it downstairs. And what I hope to do is, right now it has a 1,000-watt array on the main joint, and then I want to put my 400-watt Bourgeois V, which is a single panel that I can move around my yard. I have videos on this coming soon, soonish maybe. I want to be able to float that one around my yard so that my AC200P is basically getting solar power for as long or as much of the day as possible. Because that 1,000-watt array I cannot move. It's 5 200-watt panels. They just lay flat winter, summer, fall, spring. So it's not the best situation. But if I could put the 400-watt on the DC enhancer, then now my AC200P is getting in, 250, 180, 300 if it's cold watts of power, depending on how I can set it up around my backyard. And that one is one that I want to use to run my home, or a side of my panel in my home. And the Bourgeois V inverter will run the other one. So I got to I have to figure out which power station to bring up here, because I need a power station to run my work area. So now I have to figure out which array is going to power this particular zone. And to keep it a buck with you, the EV70 could go back right here, because the EV70 held me down, but it's not going to be a good match for, it's like, what will it be a good match for power and panel wise? It's a 12-volt panel joint, so I'd have to put something like a 200-watt panel on it. It's just like, yeah, that's not popping. So I have to change up my system drastically to use the charge enhancer. The AC200P has to go downstairs. Something has to come up. I preferably want something right here that can run my air conditioner. And I don't have many contenders. I thought about pulling the Duran up here, because it has a 20 amp input, 2,000-watt inverter, and it's a 2,000-watt-hour battery. So it actually is a good power station to bring up here. But I have to test my AC to see if it could run it. So do I bring something up here in the meantime, in between time? I don't know. So I got a lot of decisions to make. I did end up, I know this is a super long answer. I did end up creating a situation where I changed things up to the point where I have two 300-watt panels in my front yard now, and where I used to have a 300 and a 200. And the 200 was the main staple in my front yard. It was hooked into my entertainment zone in the AC60 with the B80. But now that 200-watt panel has been removed. So I changed things up around that. Maybe what I'll do is I'll get that video together and I'll throw it up on Patreon. Or maybe link it as an unlisted video in this video whenever I get it together. I don't think that that's practical, but I have been working on certain things and changing things up. So I did do a video on that where I kind of switched things around. But who knows when that video is going to come out. I'm trying to bang on these videos to get them out of here. I don't have as many to kind of put out there as I thought. But I have a lot of footage to sort through. So it's kind of like parsing it out. And if I could get a good thumbnail with my thumbnail guy or myself and put it out for you guys to watch it. If it gets 500, 700 views, so be it. I think it's cool. It doesn't have to get 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Now, are those videos impacting the influence of product videos? Possibly, because YouTube says that each video lands on its own. But the people who watched your last video are the first people to see your next video. So it's like, it does have the potential to blow up on its own, but it's also influenced by how people watch the videos before. So I'm in this very interesting space of, making videos for people like me who are just into solar and then making videos for the masses. And I haven't necessarily mastered the masses piece, but you know, people mostly want to watch videos for themselves that benefit them. So the product videos will always will do better from name brand companies because people are interested in that. So it's a very long answer to that question. Let's see here. That's awesome. I'm just okay. My fast audio amp runs at 48. Okay. Okay. Oh, nice. Hopefully you found one for a good price. Yeah, Sharp Farming has an interesting system going on over there, I presume. My main setup is 4 200-watt panels through a Victron, something, something, something. Stack that cheese. Brother, sister, cousin. Stack that cheese. It's a Lupe Fiasco song. I built with 4 EV or Eve Life 304 cells, P04, and JK200. Okay, so you got a straight up DIY system. I dig it. Have a 100 amp hour 51 solar rack battery on the hand truck with a 3 kilowatt all-in-one inverter for powering 2 fridges when the power goes out. I dig it. Okay. I just got a cheap blah 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 because it's just 2 panels. I dig it. Hey Sharon, I've got 2 different solar strings on my Pecron E600. Nice. I've got 6 solar panels in series that catches all my morning sun and 5 solar panels in series that catch my afternoon sun. That's nice. I dig that 100%. The JNN controller I've been using is only $15.99 on Amazon. I guess a lot would make an improvement over it. Facts. The Pecron 300 is fire. I've had mine for about 3 months and I love it. I bet you do. It's impressive. I like that $14 electric. Looking forward to getting mine down to that amount. Aren't we all? Ah, nice. Yeah, those 48-volt batteries are very interesting. I need to do a live stream on that for sure. Next live stream is going to be interesting. I just got my smallest electric bill since 2017. I didn't think all this stuff added up that much. Yeah, it does. It's funny because in the realm of that, right? Electricity adds up. The small amounts add up over time. So when you add solar into the situation, solar doesn't really add that much, but you're not really using that much to begin with. So it kind of helps out. If I could get if I'm running a situation where I'm spending $3 a day on electricity and I could have a solar system that saves me $1 a day, that's substantial. That's 33% off of your bill. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, they, as I used to say, they're pennies, but they're my pennies. And now it's getting to the point where it's like they're dollars, but they're my dollars. So yeah, it adds up. It certainly adds up when you start to get into a significant space of solar, for sure. Solar is addictive, but listen, let me make you feel good about it. Solar is one of the few hobbies that gives you a return on your investment. So it's one of the few hobbies that if you use it for a few years or maybe more than a few years, you get your money back and it'll start just producing whatever. Are you running a fridge on your power station? My wife kicked my fridge off of solar. I know you're not talking to me, but she kicked me off of solar and I couldn't be mad at her. Facts. Great live stream. Got to close up everything with the storm outside. I appreciate it. I pray for your safety, Katie's, that everything works up and that you're healing up well. Till next time. Oh, wow. Okay. That's good clarity. Thanks for that, Sharon, since you have the device. Thank you. I use my power station to drop my energy bill down to $45 a month. Facts. I dig it. Overall, electricity is very, very cheap. Facts. That is absolutely the truth. It's high in some areas, but compared to gas, compared to other things, it is relatively affordable. I'll tell you what, I'll give you $150. You go without electricity for a month. Yeah, electricity is very cheap. Like I said, it's going up, but it's still cheap, man. That's why I made a live stream about gas generators versus just going with battery storage. And I feel like, of course, get both because, you know, sunny days are not promised. But I'd much rather have, you know, 5 kilowatt hours of battery than a generator I'd have to run. So if I could do that 5 kilowatt hours of battery, I use about, realistically, I use about, let's just call it like 18, 16, 15 kilowatt hours a day. But if I don't have power, then that all of that's going to be very intentionally rationed, right? So you got solar in the situation. My solar situation could produce us X amount of watt hours or kilowatt hours. I'd much rather have battery. I just would. And you know, having gas around is fine, but I mean, gas generators around is fine, but I'd much rather have a good bit of battery, especially if what I was going down is the thought exercise of looking at how affordable these 1000 amp hour batteries, 100 amp hour batteries were, and just wanting to do that instead of, you know, spending money on a gas generator that needs maintenance, that needs gas, that needs spark plugs, that needs oil. It was just like, dude, I'm me personally, I'm just not a combustion engine kind of guy. That's not what I'm into. Let's see. Did I catch this last one right here? Oh yeah, I got that one. One thing I'm learning is to keep amps low because the sticker wires aren't cheap. Facts. Higher voltage is better. I agree. People freak out when they lose electricity for 2 days. I can't be mad at that. Yeah, Max and Series provided your shading doesn't cause issues for sure. What I'm running into is I thought that the all-in-ones were the magic bullet for me, but what I realized is that because you need so much voltage to be above the threshold of whatever the voltage parameters are, once I think I couldn't put more than 3 panels in series successfully and not have to deal with crazy shade issues. So I don't think that the all-in-ones are as much of a silver bullet or a magic bullet as I thought they were. I think the max I can do is about 2 panels in series, and then I have to go in parallel. I could get, not the max, but the max I could do is 3 panels in series. If I did 4, I'd be running the risk of having some shade issues. Now these panels, they may do a little bit better with whatever diodes they have in them and all of that jazz, but I'm just really, I don't think it you know, needing to have at least like I'm not, don't quote me on this one, but at least 100 volts of power open circuit to just get the system going. That's kind of tough because my panels are rated at 37 open circuit. So maybe they would get there. I don't know. I don't know. I went down the path of, somebody was talking about the minimum requirements, and I was just like, man, I would have to do 4 panels in series for that. So yeah, it's tough. It's hard out here for Ive. I'm just saying. All right, folks, I got to get out of here. I got to feed these kids. It's been fantastic. Hopefully, you know, talking about some of these deals and expounding upon them was insightful. in some capacity. And even if it wasn't insightful, hey, we got to all get together and talk solar for a few hours, which is always fantastic. I listen to my live streams back all the time because I like hearing people talk about solar, and not many people talk about solar on live streams anymore. So I covered everything. I put a link in here. I'll put separate links. I'll fill them out over the course between like tonight and like tomorrow. If there's anything you want to buy and you want to kind of buy it from my link or somebody else, that's all fine and dandy. I'm wrapping up. Just give me a minute because those little coins support their particular creativity and endeavors. Watch out. I don't want you to trip over these power stations. I think on the next live stream, we're going to be trying to figure out how to give a couple more things away. And I need to ship the things that Farmer Marshall and Radiant Jasmine run to them. And the good thing is I'll probably be in the space to ship their stuff off. And the people who win like the next round of stuff, I'll be in that mindset. So y'all will probably get y'all stuff a lot quicker. But I definitely want to get in their stuff before the holidays. And the holidays are closely approaching. All right, y'all be beautiful. Thanks for hanging out. I'll catch you next time.
Do you actually hear anyone like talking?
I don't know what you mean.